Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Folks, we have some very big news being reported here by Michael Saylor. So apparently Michael Saylor and multiple crypto executives are going to meet with the US lawmakers tomorrow to advance the strategic Bitcoin Reserve bill. This is really great because we know Trump signed an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve with the Bitcoin they have confiscated over the years. But there was also the part of looking into how to fund the ability to buy Bitcoin. So let's see what comes out of this. This could be really big. And if the United States is able to buy Bitcoin, needless to say, that would be very bullish and huge for the market and could really kick off a massive FOMO around Bitcoin and other crypto assets because we've seen other countries follow the United States lead. And it seems like the direction we're heading in is that Bitcoin will sit alongside gold and other assets as a reserve via different central banks. So it will happen in time, but let's see if they come up with anything interesting here. And this could be a huge narrative for the bull market. All right, moving ahead. PayPal is introducing a new peer-to-peer payment system. Here's a quote: "Crypto will soon be directly integrated into PayPal's new P2P payment flow in the app." This is huge. We continue to see payment companies, banks, stock exchanges, and the largest financial institutions integrate crypto in many ways. And this move by PayPal is huge. I think this is a game changer because remember, they have a big ecosystem. They also have Venmo. And if they roll this out, it's going to be open to millions of customers. So let me give you some details here. PayPal, the global payments giant with over 400 million active accounts, is adding cryptocurrency to its peer-to-peer payments, enabling users to send and receive digital assets directly, a step that could accelerate mainstream adoption beyond investment and trading. On Monday, the company unveiled PayPal Links, a personalized one-time link generated in the PayPal app that could be shared across text, email, or chat. The feature will first launch in the US before expanding to the United Kingdom, Italy, and other international markets. In the near term, users will be able to send cryptocurrencies and stablecoins directly through PayPal's P2P feature, both to PayPal and Venmo users, as well as to compatible digital assets. The supported cryptocurrencies include Bitcoin, Ethereum, and PayPal's stablecoin PYUSD. Incredible news here, folks. And as the article mentioned, this could help boost adoption because if you can easily send people crypto assets without having to worry about, long wallet addresses and complicated things and putting the wrong thing, and you have this kind of Web 2 setup, but it's powered by Web 3, this is what's needed for mass adoption. Now, you can imagine PayPal's competitors are going to build similar stuff. Robinhood's probably going to do it and the other folks. But huge move by PayPal here. I'm going to try to get someone from PayPal on the podcast again. I had interviewed PayPal's CTO, if I'm not mistaken, in 2024. His name is Edwin Aoki. And we talked a bit about, what they were doing with crypto. So I think it would be a good time to get someone on the pod from PayPal to talk about this. And by the way, Paxos, the issuer of the PayPal stablecoin PYUSD, their CEO, I interviewed and I published that interview earlier today. So check it out, guys. It's a good conversation where we dive into the future of payments and much more. So huge news here. Now look at this. An S1 for Bitwise's Avalanche Avax ETF just dropped, and we're set to get some SEC decisions next month. So the ETF, Altcoin ETF applications are piling up here. We are seeing a lot being laid on the desk of the SEC. But I want to remind everybody, there's no futures market for AVAX. Not to say there won't ever be. I'm just saying right now, I believe XRP and Solana are the ones that are going to get approved because they have the futures in place. And I will be interviewing SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce in a couple next week, actually, and I will ask her the details around this. Is the future still required? I assume it still is, and I'll ask her about the timeline for these altcoin ETF approvals. All right, folks, a quick word from our sponsor, and that is Trezor. Trezor makes beautiful hardware wallets that make it easy for you to safely store your crypto assets. Many of you know I'm a big believer in self-custody. It's the safest way to custody your assets, and Trezor supports a variety of tokens, folks. I'm talking Avax, Bitcoin, Solana, XRP, all your top coins. So they even support new tokens. And they have a great software called Trezor Suite, which helps you to manage all of this. And their hardware wallets are open source. They're the ones that started hardware wallets and the seed phrase setup. So they pioneered all of this stuff in 2013. So they've been at this for a long time. And folks, if you use my code Thinking Crypto, all one word, Thinking Crypto, you can get 5% off. So if you'd like to learn more, check out the link in the description. Now look at this. The Ethereum Foundation forms AI research team to blend blockchain and AI. And this comes as no surprise because you see a lot of different blockchains and projects are trying to support AI agents. We know AI agents are going to be used by a lot of folks. There's going to be many of them, and you want to make sure you can support them and people can build on your blockchain and be able to use payments with your currency and even stable coins on your blockchain. So David Krappis, a research scientist from the foundation, said Monday that the new team will focus on developing an AI economy on Ethereum and a decentralized AI stack for developers. Here's a quote: Ethereum makes AI more trustworthy and AI makes Ethereum more useful. He said on X, the more intelligent agents transact, the more they need a neutral base layer for value and reputation. Ethereum benefits by becoming that layer, and AI benefits by escaping lock in to a few centralized platforms. So, folks, see the direction things are headed in here, and AI is going to be a big part of the economy. And obviously, it complements blockchain in many ways, and blockchain complements AI in many ways. In fact, it will be used to police AI. Eventually, all of our content uploaded on social media platforms, things that we generate on social media will be blockchain powered. So we know the source and we can tell what's a deep fake, what's real, what's not, because that's going to be a very messy world when AI fakes get sophisticated where you can't tell the difference. That's coming. That is a scary thing, but at least we have blockchain to help solve the transparency and trust factor. Okay, moving ahead, the SEC Gemini Trust reach agreement over crypto lending dispute. So many of you know Gemini had a big issue with the company it was doing the earn service through, and that was so messy, but thank goodness it got resolved. So we got an update here from the SEC. So the SEC and Gemini Trust Company filed a status update in court, letting a federal court know they had reached a resolution principle to resolve a securities case stemming from a 2023 complaint. In a Monday filing with the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York, the SEC and Gemini Trust said, subject to review and approval by the Commission, the two parties requested that all litigation in the case be indefinitely stayed. So this is really great. Gemini, of course, just did an IPO last week on Friday. They got listed on the NASDAQ. So great to see some of these legacy issues being resolved here. Moving ahead, Robinhood seeks SEC approval for venture fund accessible to retail investors. So this is really great. They're trying to open up private equity to the masses, and they should, right? The accreditation laws are so outdated, and I'm going to talk to Hester Peirce about this. Why should only high net worth individuals be able to access these things and not individuals, especially when you have more knowledge about markets, you have the internet, everybody has the wealth of information on their phones, on their computer now, with AI, which can be as an assistant and even educate you, right? Help you to learn along the process. So I understand, the accreditation laws maybe 40, 50 years ago, but now there's no need for that. Come on, right? So great to see Robinhood is doing this. And if you guys recall, when I interviewed Vlad Tenev, CEO of Robinhood, we talked a bit about this. So make sure you check out that interview. They are really trying to open up as much investment opportunities to folks around the world. So, brokerage firm Robinhood is planning a closed-end fund that would give retail investors access to its venture capital portfolio, a space traditionally reserved for institutions and high net worth individuals. The brokerage disclosed Monday that it has filed a Form N2 with the SEC to register shares of Robinhood Ventures One, which will be managed by its new subsidiary, Robinhood Ventures DE. So, if approved, shares of RV1 will be listed on the New York Stock Exchange, where they can be bought and sold through participating brokerage platforms. This is great, folks, and I think it will also have an impact on tokenized securities. So, certain things that were not accessible to, once again, retail. If they change the accreditation laws across the board, it will really help tokenize assets. Now, final news item, which is very bullish. London Stock Exchange launches blockchain platform for private funds. Again, look who's involved. The London Stock Exchange, right? And Microsoft is also part of this. So this is a very bullish news item. And I actually shared this on the live stream this morning. So the London Stock Exchange Group launched a blockchain-based infrastructure platform for private funds, making it the first major global stock exchange to use such a system. And let me give you some updates here. They're not going to be the last, right? They're not going to be the only ones. More are going to follow. So the platform, called Digital Markets Infrastructure, supports the full life cycle of digital assets, from issuance and tokenization to post-trade settlement. It was developed with Microsoft and runs on Microsoft Azure, the exchange said on Monday. So the London Stock Exchange Group said the system was designed to provide interoperability between distributed ledger technology and traditional financial systems as part of its goal to become the first global exchange group to support clients across the full funding continuum. So, folks, you're seeing the bridge being built here from the traditional system to the new system, which is blockchain based. Incredible. And again, look at the names and the folks who are involved. I started the podcast talking about PayPal, right? And now I'm talking about the London Stock Exchange. We're talking about Robinhood as well. It's incredible what's happening. So this is why I am so bullish on this news. So private funds are the first asset class to go live in or on the DMI, with plans for additional asset classes. As part of the initial offering, private funds on the DMI will be discoverable by workplaces users, enabling general partners to interact with professional investors on these platforms. Capital management from members CAP and London-based Archax, a financial conduct authority regulated crypto exchange, were the first clients on board. Members CAP conducted the platform's debut transaction with Archax, acting as a nominee for the Cardano Foundation. So, Cardano holders, that's some very interesting news here. But man, look who's involved. Look at what they're building, folks. Again, I know I say this a lot. I'm not just bullish on this cycle, but when the bear market comes, I'll be buying and loading up and getting ready for 2028 to 2030. Something to keep in mind. We are now getting crypto legislation. We're waiting on the Clarity Act to pass, that's going to start taking place soon. And it's going to take time for that legislation to make its way throughout the economy and getting accepted by people and reviewed by people. And then they have to build. And usually the building happens in the bear market. So you can see here, once again, you can position yourself very well for the next bull market. So things are moving in the right direction. We are seeing incredible adoption here. So I'm just blown away by the participants and the people who are building here. And I don't think a lot of people out there realize what's going on. I still see comments that crypto's a Ponzi, crypto's a scam, right? Because people are not educated, and they've often change is hard for human beings. And sometimes, your initial reaction is like, oh, this doesn't seem real. Oh, how can this be currency? How can this work this way? But this is where you have to go beyond that and educate yourself so that you understand, is what I've seen on headlines real? Is it a scam or is it legit? People haven't gone that next step. So count yourself lucky if you have, because this is the next layer on top of the internet. And these news items are not making major headlines on Fox or CNN and all that stuff, right? So the majority of mainstream media is not telling you this. They just push their narratives versus sharing the facts, who's building, who's investing, who's getting patents and actually doing things, right? facts. There's no spin here. There's no opinion piece per se. It's just, hey, look at what the London Stock Exchange is doing with Microsoft, right? Here's what PayPal is doing. Straight up facts, right? So, again, count yourself lucky that you're here early. And if you bought the bloody bear market and the dips, and you're positioned to get an incredible return. So, folks, stay patient. Things are moving in the right direction. All right. A great way you can support me in the podcast, folks, is by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Check out the link in the description. Check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital, and my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you every aspect of crypto. So if you'd like to expand your knowledge, check out this course. Folks, thank you so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.